So it's here, it's finally happened. The Dunwich Legacy Deluxe expansion. No need to gild the lily, no need to do a long, silly intro or anything like that. This is serious business. This is the first step in the Dunwich Legacy cycle of the Arkham Horror Living Card game. And I've been waiting for this, and I cannot wait to play this all the way through the last mission. So let's dive into what comes in this expansion and see if it's worth diving into this expansion right now. Now, if you know from watching my triple threat three-way lumberjack match video about Arkham Horror the card game, Mansions of Madness, and Eldritch Horror, you'll know that I love Arkham Horror the card game. It was either my number 1 or number 2 game of the year, whichever one wasn't Mansions of Madness. It was a flip-flop between the two. I love this game, so I've been waiting on pins and needles. So let's take a look right now at what kind of comes in the box, what you get in this expansion, and then we'll kind of follow up on what I thought about it at the end. So as you know, with any new expansion, the most exciting thing is all the shiny new stuff that comes in the box. Now, the weird thing about an expansion of Arkham Horror, the card game, is like any LCG, you're just going to get a brick of 3 new decks of cards. And when I say decks of cards, I mean they've just separated the stacks 3 ways, so they'll fit into the box, all kind of mixed in. There's about 8 new cards per class. This is the symbol down here at the bottom that kind of tells you what it is. So you've got this little farmhouse, kind of like Dunwich Legacy. There's about 8 in each class. I'm playing as Rex Murphy because he's awesome, and I'm still reading that Ghouls in the Miskatonic book, and he kind of features prominently in that. And he's a cool character. He's got a lot of interesting stuff. The most, the first thing you kind of look at is the 5 new characters that come in Arkham Horror, the Dunwich Legacy expansion, and that would be Zoe Samaras, you got Jenny Barnes, Jim Culver, and Ashcan Pete. These are all favorites. Most of these have been made into plastic miniatures. I know Jenny and Ashcan and Zoe Samaras as well. I mean, you can get them all through Fantasy Flight, but I mean, whether you go through Mansions of Madness or another way to get these, but those are all characters that you can have the plastic miniatures. And if you've seen my triple threat view of Arkham Horror the card game, Mansions of Madness 2nd edition, and Eldritch Horror, you'll know how much I like those. So Rex is over here. He's a yellow class character. I typically like those. It's kind of that Miskatonic feel, the more, studious type person. The cool thing is you get the campaign guide, and what I love about this, now, if you think there's spoilers, there may be mild spoilers, as in I'm going to tell you roughly how the beginning starts, but nothing past there. Cool thing is that you're faced with the choice. New rule, exile. Basically, you kick it out of the game and you have to repurchase it back in. If you use an exile ability, you have to repurchase it too with experience to get it back in. So, interesting thing, you've got the prologue here. You can read that at your own leisure when you get it. It gives you a choice, though, and this is what I love. The very first thing is you decide which of the 2 missions you're going to use in this expansion. It comes with 2. I know it's the deluxe expansion, but it only comes with 2. But I feel like this is even more complete than the base game. So you can kind of see the campaign tree back here, kind of how it moves, where it goes. You can do this one first, then this one, or this one first, then this one. Then you kind of move to here. All these are those expansion packs that are coming out. Lots of things to note in here, campaign notes, sacrifice to Yog-Sothoth. I mean, everybody loves that. So I opted to go for the extracurricular activity mission first. And so this one, you're trying to find one of the professors, which is kind of the base thing. That's not a spoiler. You know that if you read anything about the game. And that's the very first thing it says is Dr. Armitage is trying to get you to find 2 professors. One of them is here, one of them is elsewhere. So you start, I have them all turned over where you can't see the shroud location or anything like that, but it's got Miskatonic Quad, the science building, all these are different here. Let's see if I can come in a little tighter where you can see this as well. Hopefully, you don't get angry if it's a spoiler. It's not really a spoiler, but you lay them out like this. So it's different places on Miskatonic University, a classic locale of Lovecraft. One of the few things that he used over and over. A lot of times we forget that he didn't write, multiple stories about Cthulhu. He wrote one, and his name gets name dropped elsewhere in his other stories. There's one story about most of these big, great old ones, but Miskatonic is one of those things that's used everywhere, from Herbert West Reanimator to Call of Cthulhu to At the Mountains of Madness. All these are just all over the place. So your mission is to find one of these doctors, one of these professors, and it's just a really cool. I really like the feel of this mission better than I did the ones in the base set, because of the fact is, and again, if you think this is a spoiler, that's fine. This is very much like Mansions of Madness. What you see here is not all that happens in the mission, and I love that. I love the idea of just kind of uncertainty. It uses, I think, 3 of the agenda deck, or sorry, what are these called? The encounter deck cards from the base set. So clearly, you have to have the base set. You can't just play this. But it's great, man. A lot of these characters are really great. They have an excellent, upgrades. They have excellent abilities and all that kind of stuff. I love this expansion. So I did have to mention these 2 cards. Laboratory Assistant's great. It's a new asset. It's really helpful. Gets you good stuff. When it enters play, you draw 2 cards. But this is what makes the Dunwich Legacy so special. And it's what's going to make Arkham Horror, the card game, so special. Not so much the whole test book, if you do this, discard things, but this note here. Put in your campaign log that you've identified the solution. Doesn't tell you why, doesn't tell you when you're going to use that. To me, that is so beyond exciting. It's got that time storage feel of it, of, hey, you don't know what this is for. But here's the weird thing. This is just a yellow card. You wouldn't have to put this in your deck. Now, I haven't looked close enough at the other classes because I chose to play yellow. Here's another good one where you can escape kind of easily. I haven't chose to look at, a lot of the new cards in this thing yet, other than yellow, just because that's the one I was playing as. Really, really close, But just that notion of, well, you don't have to even take this card in your deck, but if you do, something's going to happen with it, and I love it. I think that's brilliant. So one more thing I forgot to point out was the new cards, the amount of new cards that each class gets. Now, obviously, we'll start here, because this doesn't have to do with any specific class, but there's some new weaknesses in there. Things like Chronophobia, which technically would be the fear of time. It does things like put Chronophobia into play at the end of your turn. Take 1 direct horror. It takes you 2 actions to get rid of it. Maybe it's the fear of idle time. I don't know. Internal injury. It's just pain, all that kind of stuff. All these great new weaknesses. A new basic card is the Kukri. I'm not sure how to say that, but it's like either a curved knife or a boomerang based on the picture. Not entirely sure. It does help you fight. This class, the green ones, they get, they're kind of like the underworld, all that kind of stuff. They get a little bit of help with the liquid courage. You got to love some whiskey in the Arkham Horror universe. Get a little event card here. Double or nothing. You can not use this with Rex Murphy, ironically. Hired muscle, and I think this is cool. Forced at the end of your upkeep phase, you must either pay a resource or discard this card, so they're not even loyal to you. Fire axe, a little either a weapon or a help thing, all that kind of stuff. You gotta love that. Pete Sylvester, he's in here a lot. I think he's in the Ghouls of the Miskatonic book as well. It's by Graham McNeil. It's one of the Fantasy Flight Arkham Horror novels. All these are cool. Bait and switch. Although I don't know what kind of creature that is. It's awesome. If you succeed, the enemy, you move it to a connecting location. More people, Sylvester. Blackjack, more weapons for the kind of police class. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the names of these right now. But, taunt, quick ways to do this. Investigators at your location may give or trade any number of item assets. Only useful, really, in 2-player games there, but it's wild regardless if you don't, if you use it for that. There's another taunt. Rite of Seeking, there's some more spells and things like that for the Seeker class. And one thing I've noticed in all of these cards is, just like I mentioned, there is not another card like the Secret Formula card. There is only one card like that. So if you want to know what that does, you have to put it in your deck, which I think is brilliant. So this version of Arkham Horror has 2 missions, and you think, well, it's only 2. The base campaign had 3 missions. Here's the thing. This is not the full campaign. This is the first 2 missions of an 8-mission or 8 investigation story campaign. So this, even though has only 2 missions versus the 3 from the original set, this one feels much more epic in the sense that you're just getting your toes dipped in. In the first one, you played this whole 3-round mission, and that seems honestly a little too short. Now, I'm all about the Curse of the Rougarou and the Festival of Horrors or Carnival of Horrors, whatever it's called, all these different one-shots, but when you're putting together this 1, 2, 3 story, it's great. There's nothing wrong with the 3-act thing in the core box, but this sets up this huge narrative. And my favorite aspect is when you open the campaign book, it says, do you want to do this mission 1A, or do you want to do this mission 1B? And you get to pick which one you want to do in what order. And the cool thing is, you'll notice in the setup, certain things change because it's a chronological thing. If you go to this place first, well, then things are different here. If you go to this place first, then maybe people are off work or things are different here. So I love that start to this campaign. So the Dunwich Legacy kicks off this complete deluxe expansion. A lot of cards in here, 2 great missions, a lot of excitement coming up. You saw me talking about the secret formula or whatever it is. All that kind of stuff just gets me so excited for this game. I love the living card game Arkham Horror. It's just a fun game. I recommend, honestly, it's probably the best solo game to come out in years. You can say Mansions for that as well, but this is just one of those games you can throw down and play pretty easy. Plus, if you like deck building, it really comes into play. And if you don't want to get bogged down in too much, there's a 30 card limit. And I love that. I love just having this 30 cards to choose from and really just chew through what you need, so you're not like digging through a deck this big. And that's a whole other topic for metagaming discussions of deck building. But you have a good chance of getting all the cards you need out there. And I love it. I love it. This is so exciting. I cannot wait to see what happens with the rest of the Dunwich Legacy. I believe the Miskatonic Museum is shipping now. If you have one of those subscription servers or something, I got my shipping confirmation already, so it's probably still shipping as Cool Stuff, as Fantasy Flight's numbers say, shipping. But within the next week and a half, it should be here. So should you get the Dunwich Legacy, if you have the core set, then there's no reason not to get this, because you're dipping in and you're going all the way into this game. If you are not interested in the core set at all, then of course this expansion is not for you. But this, I warn you, is a very addicting game. So that's the Dunwich Legacy. This is the latest retro on the Dice Tower. My name is Brian Drake. Follow me up here on Twitter, and I will see you next time.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at DicetowerNetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.